Hi everybody, it's Shelby for Simple Pleasures. I'm going to show you the eBosser again today and show you a few different things in comparison to the last video. What I'm going to show you today is how to use Chipboard. It's a fun medium to work with if you haven't used it before, and the eBosser does a fabulous job with it. I'm going to use this Tim Holtz tag die, and that has a cute little bread tag with it as well. When you're using the eBosser with the Sizzix type dies, the thicker ones, your sandwich is going to be A and C. So I'm going to remove these other plates and just have my A and C. I'm going to place the die face up so that it's going to cut into the A plate. And here's my chipboard. It's two-sided, you know, the white on this side and then the craft color on this side. And I want my front of my tag to be white, so I'm going to place that down into the die, on top of the die like that. Slide it on through. Give it a little push. And it cut through this chipboard wonderfully. And there's my chipboard tag, the white side, and then the craft side. The other thing that you can do with the chipboard is emboss it. I'm going to use this embossing folder here. And your embossing sandwich for the eBosser is going to be on your bottom plate. It's going to be D, then C. Then you're going to put your embossing folder on top of C plate with your item inside. And then the A top on top of it. Again, this is a chipboard inside the embossing folder, and your sandwich is going to be D on the bottom, C followed by A. And here let me zoom this in for you. And here's your wonderful embossed chipboard. While I have the embossing sandwich already set up, I'm going to show you some other fun things that you can work with. These acrylic pillow boxes, they're actually a lot of fun to work with, to design with. And I'm going to show you two different folders that I'm going to put through the eBosser. Easy peasy, just put it through, sandwich it up like that. And here's my next one. I'm going to put it up like this. I like the seam side down, meaning the seam of the pillow box, I like it on the back side, and I like the impression on the front side, the pop-up side. So this is how I'm going to do that. I have two different embossing folders, on the C plate. I'm going to top it with the A plate and slide it on through. And here we're all done. Let me zoom in so you can see these acrylic pillow boxes. Fold it up for you so that you can see. And the acrylic pillow boxes come pre-made, so you don't have to cut them, which makes it fast, simple, and a lot of fun. Fold it in. I like the tab where you grab with your finger on the inside and then fold it over top this way. So let me zoom in so that you can see these two pillow boxes. The eBosser platform is big enough so that you can do two sandwiches at a time. They also make 8.5 by 11 folders for the eBosser by Craftwell. So I didn't have one handy dandy, so I used two different embossing folders so you could see how that works. Another fun thing that I like to do with embossing is to actually paint or put ink on the inside of the folder so that when it embosses, it's also inking or painting the die cut or the piece of paper that I'm using. In this case, I'm going to use that Tim Holtz tag again. This time I've just cut another piece off camera, and I'm going to put it in plain. But first what I want to do is I want to dab up the inside of the embossing folder. I'm using Jenny Bolin Ranger acrylic paint here with the dauber. And I want both sides of this tag to be with this purple color. So I'm going to put it on both sides of the embossing plate here. And you can use distressed inks, you can use the dye ink or StazOn inks. That's a little more difficult to clean up, but it's doable. Just put it on the inside of your embossing folder or plate, and then put your tag down. That's the impression I want. I'm going to fold it up. Again, the sandwich for embossing is D, C, and then you're going to top it with A and slide it through. And here you have your embossed tag. Here's the front side, and you can see the back side. I missed a little bit of ink down there, but I can always go back in and paint over it. So here's the two tags. One not with the paint, the other one with the paint, but both embossed with the same folder. The next thing we're going to show you with the eBosser is how to cut thin metal dies. The sandwich for a thin metal die is D, and then your shim, also known as E, followed by C, and then the B plate, which is the thinner acrylic plate on top of your C. Then you're going to have your thin dies. This is the memory box mini takeout, mini carry takeout, and this is the grand window, the Grand Madison window. And then you would put your paper over top, and then followed by the A plate. I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to actually use the magnetic sheet that comes with the eBosser. If you can see, don't cut down with your die into, let me see if I can show you what happened to my magnetic sheet when I put the die cut face down. I would recommend putting it face up so you're not cutting and ruining your magnetic sheet over time. So it only took me one time to figure out that probably wasn't the best idea. So I'm going to put the mini takeout right here. As you can see, it'll hold on to the die for you and it's not going to fall off, so it's not going to move around when it's going through the machine. And then the window, and it will hold, you know, it keeps the die cuts in place, or the dies in place, so that they don't move around. And then I'm going to put the paper on top. But what I'm going to do, because I don't want my paper to move around, I'm going to tape this down to my magnetic sheet as well. I'm using the Scotch removable tape. Oh, you can see that, there you go. The Scotch removable tape, just to tape the paper in place, because I don't want that moving around as well. So then your sandwich, again for review quickly, is your D plate. And when you're using the magnetic sheet, take out your shim. Happen if the machine is reading that the sandwich that you've made is too thick, it will stop and then reverse it and kick the sandwich back out. If you're using your magnetic sheet and it does that to you, take out the shim, take out the E plate, and then try it again and it will go through. It just happened to work this time for me, but I've had other times when I've had the magnetic plate down with several dies on that it's just kicked it back out because it was reading it as too thick. If that occurs to you, just remove your E plate and try it again. So here we have, stuck to the plate, the mini takeout box and the window cutout. And I had made some ahead of time so that you can see what they look like. So here's a finished up window, and I just put acetate on the back side using some very thin score tape and the mini takeout box. They're a lot of fun, so if you need some treats for your kids' class or an event, they're really cute and very easy to make. About 4 pieces of tape and you have a wonderful little mini takeout box. The last thing I want to go over with you today is cutting chipboard with a thin metal die. I've been asked that question, can it do it, can it do it, can it do it? Yes, it can. It may take more than one run through the machine to get a really clean cut. I would recommend using a more solid type of die cut, meaning there's not a lot of intricate cuts. Let me show you an example of what it doesn't like. Here's a more intricate die from Memory Box, and you can see all the little cuts that it would have to do versus the Madison window, which are bigger and broader and more simple cuts. So chipboard with the eBosser doesn't do well with the intricate die cuts, but it does really well with solid or less intricate dies. So again, you're going to use the same sandwich for any thin metal die, your D, then the shim or the E plate, followed by the C, the B. You're going to put your die cut face up on the B plate. I'm going to use the same chipboard that I had used with the Tim Holtz Sizzix die. I want the white to be on the front, so I'm going to put it face down into the die so that it doesn't get all those lovely designs that your plates can give it with extra pieces of paper that you didn't take out or previous die cut impressions on it. So, and again, I'm going to tape it because I may have to do more than one run through, and I don't want it shifting around when I run it through the second time. Again, and this is a little bit bigger die, so I'm going to use 2 pieces of the removable tape face up, a plate to sandwich it, and slide it on through. Okay, so let's see how it did. You can see it started to cut through the outer edges. I'm going to take off the one side and have a peek. It's not all the way through the windows yet. I can't pop those out. So I'm going to tape it back down in place and put it somewhere on a different area of the plate so that it gets a different pressure. Put my A plate on and slide it through. Okay, so let's see if 2 times through it worked. So there you can see it can cut through. You may want to take it through even a 3rd time if you don't like any fraying anywhere on your project. So there you go. It can also cut through chipboard, but keep in mind it may take more than one pass through. Move your die around on the plate if you want to be a little bit more successful, because as our plates warp over time and they get used, the pressure is a little bit different on different areas of the B plate or the sandwich. So if you're finding that your die cut is not going through the very first time, run it through again, but put it on a different area of the plate. Alright, let's go over real quickly the fun things that you are able to see today. You're able to cut the chipboard with a thin metal die. Again, remember, you might have to take it more than one time through. We made a mini takeout box with a thin metal die using the magnetic sheet, but remember to also tape down the tape to either your die or to the magnetic sheet. We ran through some pre-made acrylic pillow boxes with the embossing folder. We were able to use 2 different embossing folders at the same time with the wider surface and larger surface of the eBosser. And we also painted our embossing folder and then embossed the chipboard tag through it to create a little bit different look. So thank you for stopping by and watching and taking the time for the video today. If you have any questions, leave a message on the YouTube site and I will answer it. But I appreciate you stopping by and hope you all have a great day. Thanks.